Yeah, let's just dive inside of it because I have a lot to cover. So, where's my mouse? Here. Yes, so I'm Niels Prayer, and I'm very, very happy to be here today at this first event of Houdini HIVE in Paris. And as a French artist, it means something. So yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me and to be the first speaker here. So yeah, I'm a freelance motion designer, artistic director, and director. Yeah, working mainly for a couple of studios around the world, but from France. And yeah, this is the kind of images I'm doing with my own little style, a mix between surrealistic, poetic, and yeah, minimalist kind of composition, playing on shapes and lighting, and of course, using the power of Houdini to create this kind of things. And those are kind of stuff here just to show you a bunch of what I am creating. Of course, I love to explore in different kind of medium, and this is the kind of 2D stuff I can do too here. And again, we can see my influence from my motion design background into my stuff in 2D, and again, playing with lighting and things like that. But yeah, let's just see first some motion. Okay, it will switch like that for the whole thing, right? Yes, so as I've said, I'm freelancing for a couple of studios here, the main one, and yeah, Future Deluxe, Mathematic, Antibody Trades, Passion Picture, Unit Motion Design most recently here. And yeah, I have a background of FX Supervisor and FX I've worked at Framestore, and I've worked at Illumination MacGuff here in France. And on all of my career, my little career, I've switched from for post-production, to pre-production, and both using Houdini actually. And I found a couple of tricks and a new way of using Houdini as a concept artist now, because I'm working mainly in pre-production and doing concept art for motion design. And yeah, it was a nice transition between post and pre-production, and yeah, Houdini was always here all the way. So yeah, it was a fun thing to mention. I wanted to share with you today a couple of projects I'm working on. And the first one is a bit old one actually, but I think it's a very cool thing about Houdini on it. It's from AUDEMARS PIGUET. We did that at Mathematics Studio, and I was in charge to create a couple of kind of concept art for a little motion design sequence on it. It was directed by Patrick Clare. And the main idea was to represent from AUDEMARS PIGUET, it's a watch brand, and it was to represent some clockwork mechanism with a kind of snowy, frozen-ish kind of aspect. And again, in my little style, I've developed a couple of style frames. So here you can see some particle stuff. I don't know what it is exactly, but some particles, some trails, stuff like that. And again, some very complex kind of mix between geometry of the clockworks and particle spreading with kind of disintegration on some parts. Yeah, it was very fun to work on this one. Again, some rendering directly in Mantra to have some frozen aspect on some pieces. It was just for concepting, actually. It will not be used at the end, except for this one, but this kind of stuff was not used at the end of the commercial. But yeah, it was fun to explore all this stuff. Again, here, we had to transform some mountains into some clockwork things. So yeah, again, playing with some attributes and the lighting to create that and to morph the mountain into the final pieces of the watch. Again, some R&D things, just playing with shapes, and it was before Houdini Terranscape and stuff like that, so it was just noise on grid, actually. So yeah, it was just to have fun with the mountains. And this is the kind of final images we've made at the end. Again, just some concept stuff. I will not show you, unfortunately, the final thing, because it's a bit long and I think I will not have the time to show you that. And I prefer to show you the concept art themselves. Another cool project was done at Future Deluxe, actually. It was for the Saatchi Betfair brand. It's a sport bet application. And in here, again, we had to represent datas, actually, but in a more organic way, and avoiding the kind of UI data kind of thing we can see, the UI stuff. And it was more to find a nice way to represent that, and in very, according to the client, into an organic way. So this is the kind of thing I've created for that. So with some VDB and some threads on particles, just to create some sportsmen and shapes and faces to find maybe the right way to visualize what the client wanted. And again, the power of Houdini is the procedurality of that, of course, and being able to create several kind of, of course, in a very short amount of time, but several propositions to the creative director. And for instance, in here it was creating the muscles with some fiber cages, and the outside skin with just threads or particles, or just emit some lighting directly from the fibers and things like that. So yeah, again, playing just in one scene of Houdini, you can just switch, and yeah, for concepting, it's just a very, very nice tool, actually. Yeah, some other researches we've done, and at Future Deluxe, some very, very cool stuff. So yeah, you can see the sports thing here. And this is the final images we've done. So now the trails are in gold and the particles are in silver. And yeah, I think it's very, very intimate lighting, just give a very nice mood of the scenes. Yeah, again, the trails with everything it just curves, actually. It's not airs or things like that. And yeah, this is the final images on the rugby thing. Yeah, maybe let's just see a video for that. For this thing, and thanks. Yeah, and again at Future Deluxe, yeah, I've worked recently a lot with Future Deluxe, actually, in London, and another client was Legion and Marvel for the Legion TV show, and it was last year for the title sequence, actually, for the show, and this time we had to represent. It's about mutants and the battle of some psychic mutants inside some minds. So yeah, I was in charge to find something on the R&D process, and with a lot of variation, actually. I will show you a couple of them, and the first one here is about just finding some shape and playing with some liquids and mesh it, of course, in VDB to, I don't know what it is exactly, but yeah, it sounds like battle in the mind, kind of. Another thing was just very funny to create. Actually, everything is just in gray in Houdini, but the textures and materials and stuff like that was done in Mantra. So I just create some shaders in Mantra just to find some cool way to represent Mindstorm, actually, applied on shapes, on geometry, on bodies, and yeah. And yeah, the fun thing was to directly work in the Mantra shader. Some Houdini mixed with Photoshop in here with just some cloudscape and heavy Mindstorm again. Sometimes just playing with liquids and pyrographic stuff and painting directly on them to just duplicate some volumes and stuff like that. And again, applying that onto some bodies and playing with the lighting. This frame was just my favorite, but yeah, it was not the final decision of the client. But again, in here, it's more about playing with some very, very simple design in 3D and mix that with some very 2D elements, such as the sphere here, and just playing with the lighting to create a nice mood. And again, finding the right Mindstorm aspect of the thing. And yeah, by working on this thing here, I think I've found something as an artist to play with, and you will see on the next couple of projects. I'm using that kind of mixing a lot now. Yeah, so it was something important for me to develop these frames here. Again, some cloudscape with some pattern done in Houdini and apply on curves. Yeah, and here again, mixing pyrographics with trails and Photoshop for the final cloudscape at the end. And finally, this is the final one, and this is the one we have in the title sequence. Basically, it's geometric shape, and we emit some pyrographics on it, and it drives tons of particles, and playing with variation of speed, and we have something very, very dynamic to create some one shape morphing into another, and yeah, it's something very crazy. And the guy, so I developed that, a couple of scenes on that, and the guys at Future Deluxe just did something amazing based on the little setup I've made. So can we do that? Okay. Woo. So yeah, the next thing about my work is about personal projects, of course, as a lot of artists actually. But yeah, I'm always exploring things, and I'm always trying to find new things to create and to, yeah, just to develop and just to explore actually. And yeah, it's a big part of my working days. And I had the chance actually to make a short movie produced by Future Deluxe last year again, and it was just a personal thing, and I had 3 weeks to make something between production, and they just let me to, well, explore something I wanted. So it ended up with the CAIRN project here. So again, it's in black and white and with big stones and stuff like that again. And here basically it's some concept art I did in Photoshop and Houdini and View. I used that for the big landscapes and the background. And it's about just hiking in the mountains and being lost and finding some surrealistic stones in the middle of the fog. Yeah, so they'll just let me explore on everything. So develop the idea, develop the main shapes of everything, finding the light, finding everything. So yeah, again, tons of fun, the storyboard. And again, this is the place where near where I'm living now in the south of France, so it's easy to find some references from the mountains. I'm, yeah, always hiking actually. And this is the final frame from from the movie actually, from some shots. Again, some playing and everything rendered in Houdini, and the environment is some Photoshop plus View, and the character is some motion capture on Mixamo. So yeah, it's exploring and having fun with everything just to make something. All right. And again, yes, they just let me explore and make something. And even on music, actually, on all my little projects, I'm making the music too. Yeah, I will show you this one too. And I think after that, I will just speed things a little bit up. I always like to create title sequence and yeah, I think it's a nice format to explore and to find new way of create, with both on the technical side and the artistic side. And in here in Foundation, it was very nice because we have all what I love in Houdini. Actually, we have some point replication, we have some copy and loop stuff like that. We have some crowds and point replication with just a lot of copy, and we have particles, we have customing attributes to create some cityscape with a lot of extrusion. We have a lot of finding the right shader in Mantra and combining everything on that. And yeah, it for me the cool project of Houdini. And yeah, it was very fun to develop all of the shots. I think I will show you this one, and after that I will speed things a little bit up. Thank you. Yeah, it's an old one, but I love to show this one because yeah, it's something for me, and because it's based on size of book I loved. Maybe a quick one here again. Voices of Chernobyl, again a title sequence adapted from a book. Yeah, this one was a 1 week kind of fan film project just between production, and just yeah, finding something to create in this little week, such as the foundation one, it was 3 weeks or something, and this one was, yeah, 1 week. And yeah, so the time constraint forces me to find a way to disintegrate stuff without any simulation. So yeah, it was playing directly in VOPs to directly disintegrate elements and objects directly on using some custom attributes on the primitives themselves. So it was fun to develop this little kind of setup in the VOP. And yeah, it ended up with just another kind of little title sequence with just playing with the lighting and the mood, and all mixed together with the music and stuff, and we have something like that. Yeah, again, there it is. All right. Thank you. Yeah, and it's always very cool to have some time to explore and to make the visuals and the music. It helps me just to control what I want to just to share and to have as feeling actually inside my little things. I will just show you the images for this one. It's the most recent one. It's called The Little Prince. It's not a title sequence. This time it's a motion sequence without any credits, but it's based on the book from Saint-Exupéry. And yeah, I found the book very amazing and since my childhood, and I wanted to make something about that. So in here, it's very interesting because it's some very heavy particle simulation driven by pyro and volume. And I wanted to put in the middle of that some very 2D shapes and playing with these elements. And again, I just have 1 week or so, or 5 days, I don't remember, but something like that to make something. And yeah, so due to time constraints, actually I've rendered everything in Houdini, all the 3D part, but instead of having complex camera kind of animation, I've rendered that in slices, actually. Like, I just imagine you can create some nebulas with some particles, and I've rendered that in Houdini, but in several kind of slices. And I've put that back into my compositing application, and I've did everything of the camera animation and the little Photoshop kind of thing about the books and the planets, directly inside After Effects 2. And so just like that, I was able to see my final results in live in the compositing application. And, but keeping my lighting very 3D with the atmosphere, based on what I had in Houdini. So yeah, it was very cool to play with that kind of thinking. Yeah, I will not show you this time, this one. But yeah, combining Houdini with more illustrative approach is something I'm trying to do now. And with that in mind, last year I did something like that. It was the motion design title sequence. It's another conference here in Paris. And yeah, in here it's very like the stuff I've developed from Future Deluxe with the black and white frames. So in here there is some painting, some photo bashing, and some 3D. And again, mixing everything to have something very cool. And again, focusing on lighting and the mood in the frames, just to have something very unique in the style, both illustrative, and we can see the 3D and feel the lighting in 3D. So yeah, I developed a couple of scenes for that. Again, I will just speed things a little bit up here. And again, this is the final stuff about that. It's a music video for a band here in France, and I've worked on that in April. It will be released next week. And again, it's on the same approach. So here are the concept art I did just in Photoshop and painting that. It was the main idea for the music video. But in the all shots I've created, there is a lot of destruction and disintegration of a lot of parts and statues and stuff like that. So obviously I did that in Houdini. And the main challenge was to mix that with the illustrative approach, because some shots are just like that and some others are just like very 3D. So I had to find a way, by the lighting, by the texturing, to not be too realistic in the texturing. Even in the disintegration, sorry, I had to find the right amount of blocks and rocks to play with and to have this kind of very 2D painting feeling to match the other shots. And yeah, this is the final little part of the conference. So it's the fancy titles from earlier, from motion to emotion. I've called that way because nowadays I'm more into finding the right feeling when I'm creating. And a big part of my artistic life and of my daily life actually is about music and turning around the fact of playing the piano. Yeah, I've done 15 years of classical formation and stuff like that. I'm playing a lot of instruments. But yeah, the piano is basically the main thing I want to focus on these days. And of course, I want to find new ways of connecting everything I like, actually, such as the visuals, the music, and yeah. And of course, Houdini is the main key of my artistic journey in the visuals. So yeah, one day, these days I'm just exploring and I've discovered chops, actually. It was one thing I just let aside just for a long time, actually, and I'm diving into that these days. And I find this little very interesting noise. Okay, it's the MIDI node, actually. And I'm plugging that actually into, I'm just driving my Houdini with my piano, actually. This is the thing, and I want to focus on that. So I will not show you this little first attempt here. It's just a little thing. I will show you the final results. And yeah, but the thing is about not just visualizing the music. I really want to have a true relationship between the music and what I'm seeing on my screen in Houdini. And what I've found is about connecting that in that way. So I'm just, I want to create and to play what I am seeing, actually. So the visuals I want to create influence my way of playing. And it's very interesting as an artist and as a musician, of course. And I've called that pianography, because it's kind of calligraphy with piano. I'm very short in time here, so if you want some explanation, I can just talk with some of you guys if you want some inputs. But basically, it's just playing in shops, getting that back into the subs, and playing on some points and influencing the points with some lag attributes and some solver to create this kind of calligraphic cross-hatching thing to finally create this kind of stuff here. It's one piece of music, and the very important thing about that is about improvisation. It's not recorded or things like that. I'm just playing and it creates that, and the music is influenced by what I want to create. And I have this kind of final piece, and it's very organic between the visuals and the music. Some examples here again. I will show you just a little piece of video here. It's a bit long, so no problem. So yeah, this is my keyboard and me playing. So it's again very improvised. I'm just coming to the piano and I don't know what I want to create. and according to what I am seeing on my screen. So it's in the play blast, it's just like a play blast in directly in the display. And yeah, I'm trying to find new ways, new chords, and yeah, according to what I want to see, and trying to keep the music as beautiful as I can. And to finally at the end, so you can see maybe some chords with some just writing. Yeah, it's definitely something as a musician. It's a new way of playing, and I even find new patterns in the playing by using that technique. And yeah, actually it's just some tests and just some first tries, but it's yeah, it's the final piece here, and by the playing, yeah, I'm driving this kind of calligraphic stuff in Houdini by playing the piano. All right, so I think it's almost done. Yeah, of course, never stop to explore in music, by illustrating some children book in 3D, finding new style always. So in 2D here, with very heavy complex simulation in Houdini, photo bashing and photoshopping some concept art. Again, just always exploring. And of course, the new thing I'm developing now, I'm writing and directing an animator feature, but it will be maybe released in a couple of years now. So I'll let you know, of course. You can find all my social here. So if you want to discuss about stuff, if you want to talk about pianography or things like that, and if you want to listen to my little piece of music, I'm on all the platforms too, and you can have everything on my website. So maybe it's the best place to find everything. So yeah, thank you very much, guys.